here's a question to contemplate. With so much suffering in the world and so much stress in daily living, how can you still enjoy your life? It can feel hard to find joy in the middle of troubled times. And you might even feel guilty having fun, right? So in this video, you'll find plenty of tips for overcoming that so you can still find your smile and enjoy a good laugh no matter what's going on in the world. After this short intro, you'll get to see an interview I recently did where I cover all of that and more. It was for a Lunch and Learn series with Lambros Demos, and his area of expertise is real estate, so if that's your industry, definitely check out his video series, and I'll leave the link for that below in the video description, along with the links to a couple of other helpful things that I mentioned during the interview. So I encourage you to watch it all the way through so you can soak up all of the tips and you don't miss anything. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the Joyful Being with Kim channel, I encourage you to do that too. So you'll find that tab right underneath this video, the subscribe tab, and that way you'll be notified when the next video in the Inspirational Laughter series comes out. So here's the interview. Enjoy.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Live Lunch and Learn. I am your host, Lambros Demos, and I'm very excited about today's episode. We have a very special guest here today, but before I introduce her, I just want to say that, it's obvious we live in such a stressful world today. Society is all about instant gratification, right? We have so many things pulling at us from different directions. There's social media, there's our jobs, there is family, so many things. And mixed in with all that, obviously, is the pandemic and the lockdowns and all this negative stuff that we hear every day, racial issues going on. Here in Canada, we've got Indigenous issues. So how do we find time to deal with all this and still be able to take time and laugh and be happy? We pay lip service to things like enjoy the moment or stop and smell the roses, cliches like that, or my favorite, unplugged, right? So we want to unplug for the weekend, get away from all this, but do we really? Come Monday or a couple of days later, bam, we're right back into this whole melting pot of stress and anxiety and all these things. And that's not healthy, because stress is probably one of the leading cause, not probably, it is the leading cause of most diseases and things. But I'm not going to go into the biology right now. I want to introduce you to Kim McIntyre, because there is a better way of dealing with all this stress and finding ways to be happier. Kim has been teaching people over the last 20 years how to rediscover their joyful self, so to speak, and learn to relax and learn to be happier and have more fun. So, and she's here today to inspire us to do the same. So please welcome to the program, Kim McIntyre.
Hey there, Lambros. So happy to be here with you.
Excellent. Welcome. I'm happy as well. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Get to talk about joy today. That's always a good day.
Is there anything better?
Right.
That's fantastic. So I'm curious, because this is not a common career choice, right? And actually, before I even met you, I had never even heard about somebody providing joy and teaching people how to be happy. It's just something I thought should come natural to people. So tell us how you got into this, and because it's very interesting.
Yeah, well, 20 years ago, I was in the middle of a health challenge and I was extremely stressed out. And so for some support, I attended a mind-body healing program. And one of the things we learned there was therapeutic laughter and play. And it was my first time being exposed to it. And in the middle of all the stress in my life, all of a sudden, I was having fun. And not only did it take my stress level down, right, it also just made me feel like my true self. It was like coming home to me, like a light being turned on inside of me. I was laughing and playing and having a good time. And so since then, I'm now teaching other people how to do the same. And I help people who really want to enjoy their lives, who know they want more joy and more laughter, but it's just not happening. And they're really not sure how to make
Wow.
it happen with everything else that's going on in life. Because there's always so much. Everybody's busy and stressed and got stuff going on, you know?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, what would you say was the turning point? What was the flame that ignited your, you know, this joyful side of you?
Well, I think it was there all along, but it
Okay,
was like reigniting it is what I
okay,
would
right, got it.
say. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. So,
yeah,
like, I think I was very joyful and playful as a child.
yeah,
And way, way back in the day, I have a theater background. So, there was that sense of play and camaraderie there. But
okay,
in the seriousness of life and all this stress that was just piling on top of me, and prior to that going to that program, I had been looking at different stress relief tools and different techniques and learning that as well. And
okay.
I also became a yoga instructor. So like I was looking for anything that would help, right?
Yeah,
And then I just remember that moment of going, oh, playing is therapeutic. It was like that moment, and I just was having so much fun. I think we were playing Pictionary and we weren't keeping score. We didn't have the scorekeeping stress. We were
right,
just
right.
playing just for the sake of playing and laughing and having so much fun.
Yeah.
And it really was like, oh, right, this is a
Wow.
part of me, and this is a part of everybody. And somehow with all the seriousness of life,
Mm.
we forget that.
Yeah, no, so true. So speaking of seriousness of life, pardon. I mentioned off the top, there's just so much negativity going on today. Every
Mhm.
time you open your Facebook or any social media, anytime you turn on the TV, there's always something going on. Shootings and all this racial stuff, and it's just uh, how does one find time to be happy, or maybe they feel guilty about being happy because with all this stuff going on. Tomorrow, actually, I'm not sure if you know, is Canada Day here in Canada, and Canada was founded, unfortunately, on some very tragic events. And now
Mm.
we're discovering bodies in residential
Mm.
schools, right, in Indigenous residential schools. So a lot of people are talking about canceling Canada Day, and they don't feel like celebrating. So how do we do that? How do we be happy and laugh without feeling guilty about all this stuff?
Yeah, that's one reason to feel guilty is there's so much going on in the world, right? And it's like how can I be happy? But the thing is your joy and your enjoyment of life is a gift to others, So with there's so much to unpack in that question. It's
I
so
know, I
wonderful.
know. Take
It's
your
so
time. I know. I just
wonderful.
a long
Um,
question. Go ahead.
Another common reason people feel guilty is they feel like they should be doing something else, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Because they should be, more productive or whatever. But here's the thing, no matter what's going on in the world, you don't help that situation by being stressed out and not centered and not enjoying yourself. Whatever's going on in your life, if you are burned out, you can't serve anyone. You can't serve any cause. You can't serve your loved ones if you are running on fumes. You can't be your best self. So it's sort of like you have to give yourself a little pep talk. Like, I need to take care of myself. And yes, if you feel motivated and moved to be proactive on any one of those issues you see in the news, you're going to do a better job if you're taking care of yourself and you're centered. You'll have a better effect on whatever that is, whether it's a big cause out in the world or something you want to do in your life, if you're more centered, if you know how to slow down and breathe and be. And one of the things that I like to teach people is to try to bring in stress relief and or joy in little bits. So you talked in the intro about unplugging on the weekend, and then in the week you go back to all the garbage again, right? So you can't do it that way. You can't wait to be on vacation to recharge your batteries, or you end up drained over and over again. You end up burning out. So I like to teach people how to do it in little bits. And actually, on my YouTube channel for the stress relief piece, there's a playlist called 5 Minute Stress Relief. And it's just tools that you can use in 5 minutes or less to bring yourself back to that centered space. And if you want to find it, my channel, you search the 4 words on YouTube, Joyful Being with Kim.
Okay.
And the other thing to keep in mind is catching it earlier, your stress, because what happens is sometimes people don't know that they're stressed until they've already got the headache or the stomach ache or some kind of illness going on. But if you can catch it earlier, if you're proactive and you know the types of things that stress you out, you can pack some stress relief around those things in your day, even if it's 5 minutes. And one thing that I love to do that both gives stress relief and recharges your joy is to give yourself happy dances regularly. So to just put on music that you love and move to it, and that combination of moving your body to and enjoying the music just gets that little uplift going that's both stress relieving and gives you a nice feel good experience.
That is so true. How the physical part, translates into emotional happiness. That's an excellent tip. Thank you for that. I'm not going to get up and start dancing now. Fantastic.
I give myself happy dances all the time without music, just to go, absolutely. Oh, yay, I just did this. Yay.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. And I love how you mentioned that we're happy to serve others, right? So, I mean, that's the key right there. I mean, yes, we can feel down about ourselves and what else is going on, but that's negative energy that we're giving to other people, right? So we have to kind of give that positive energy to other people. So that's a fantastic point. But what if somebody, is really down? What if they're depressed? What if they are unable to laugh, or they don't feel like dancing? So what do you say to those people?
Well, there's a couple things that can be going on. If someone is truly unable to feel joy and has no desire for it at all, there may actually be something going on with their health. So consulting a physician or a therapist is probably a really good idea. Okay. Another thing is that sometimes people, they think it has to be this big thing, right? Like that joy or laughing or anything has to be a big, huge jumping up and down thing, but it can be much more subtle than that. It can be just as simple as deciding, you know what, I'm going to go outside and look at that gorgeous sunset right now and just soak it in. It can be something very simple like that. And laughter, even if you don't feel like laughing, somebody can come along and make you laugh just like that.
That's right.
So laughter happens in an instant. So even if you don't feel like laughing, you can tell yourself, well, I know it might make me feel better to look for something that might make me laugh. And part of it is feeding your mind things that are going to be beneficial to you. So our ancestors survived by seeing what was wrong in the environment so that they could avoid the lion who wanted to have them for dinner, right? So there's a bit of a programming in our minds to look for what's not working, look for what's wrong. So it's almost making a conscious choice, not almost, it is frequently over and over again, making a conscious choice to seek out things that are going to uplift you, whether it's making you laugh or just inspiring you or just looking at silly, cat videos on YouTube. It's a break from feeding your mind the negativity that is in the world. There's lots of negativity to find. All you have to do is turn on the TV. But you can also turn on the TV or Netflix or whatever and look for a stand-up comedian who's going to make you laugh.
Right. No, fantastic. I mean, just saying the word laughter brings a smile to my face, right? So it's so true. I mean, do you know why laughter is so contagious?
Why laughter is contagious? Well, I think the sound, for sure. Yeah. It's across all cultures, across all people. It's the same sound. No matter what country you live in, what language you speak, it's the same sound. And we recognize it. Yeah. And there's actually studies that have been done that show that there's a part of your brain that gets activated when you hear someone else laugh. it's like I don't know, like some kind of a mirror neuron thing. I'm not a scientist. I can't
Right.
focus
Neither am
that
I.
thing, but it's something that happens in your brain that like
Yeah.
prepares you, like, oh, I want to laugh too, and
Yes.
it's just it is naturally contagious. Just the sound itself. Yeah,
That's so true. That's so true. And so smiling, right? So, I mean,
yeah,
if you smile at a stranger, they're most likely to smile back, right? Unless they think
definitely,
you're an
definitely.
oddball.
Yeah,
That's so cool. That's so cool.
yeah.
Um, so speaking of stress and laughter as well, I might be dating myself, but I used to read a magazine called Reader's Digest. I don't know if you remember that
Oh,
one, right?
sure, sure,
And
yeah.
they had a section in there called "Laughter is the best medicine." So,
Hmm.
is it true? Right? I mean,
Um,
can
well,
it be healing?
it can be healing. It's
Okay.
not a replacement for
Hmm.
regular medicine. And
Okay.
I mean, if you
Right.
need to take your medicine, you need to take your medicine. But
Sure.
it's definitely a complement for it, which is why it was in that therapeutic mind body healing program that I
Okay.
took. And there have been people who use it for stress relief and all the time. I mean, all the groups that I talk to, they use it. Like one woman use some of the things that I taught her to give to her father, who was so
Mhm.
frustrated because he had Parkinson's and he couldn't do the things that he normally do. And she gave him some of the exercises I taught to help
Okay.
lighten his spirits and help him with the frustration of that.
Right.
So it can be healing. It depends on how you define. Do you define healing as it instantly makes everything better in your body, or do you find healing as it makes your mind feel better, therefore your life is better? I mean,
Yeah.
that's a form of healing as
100%.
well.
But it
Yeah,
must also may allow the medicine to work better,
yeah,
right?
it's
Because if you
definitely
if
a
you're in
compliment. Yeah,
definitely compliment. So I
yeah.
agree with that 100%. So what would be your I don't want to put a number at, but let's say 5 tips to help someone bring joy back into their lives, just real quick.
Yeah, so I would say the awareness of your habitual thoughts is a big one.
Okay.
Awareness of your habitual thoughts, because where your mind
Okay.
is where your focus goes.
Gotcha.
I would say give yourself permission. So if you are
Okay.
feeling guilty, give yourself permission. Um, and I have another story about that I'll tell you later if you want.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
And
Just tell it now if you want. Go ahead.
okay, so I remember many, many years ago when I first started doing this,
Okay.
I had done a few different groups around town, different laughter workshops with adults. And
Okay.
then someone asked me to do a group with children. And I said, oh, sure, that sounds like fun. I'd never worked with children before, right?
Okay.
And I totally lost control of the room. They were having a great time. They were bouncing off the
Sure.
walls, right?
Yeah.
But I was
Okay.
like, oh my God, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but my takeaway from that was, okay, children don't need permission, because I had been
Mm.
teaching groups of adults who I had to gently coax to open up, to be willing to laugh and play. And the
Yeah.
kids were just like, oh, off we go. And so
Absolutely.
from that point on, every time I give a laughter lecture or workshop, I tell people, give yourself permission to laugh and play like you're a little kid again. And instantly, I have a room full of big kids.
That's
So
it.
it's giving yourself permission is very, very powerful. Yeah.
Excellent. I like
Yeah.
that. I love that.
Yeah. And so another thing is to focus on your inner state rather than expecting something from outside to
Mhm.
give you joy.
Yeah.
Um, yes, outside things can make you feel good. So I'm not saying don't seek those out and definitely know what those are for yourself, but
Okay.
also know that it's a bit more of an inside job. And that's back to the first tip, being aware of what your habitual thoughts are and what you're focusing on.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent.
And yeah. And so another one of my tips I already gave, which is the
Okay.
happy dance.
Happy dance.
Definitely do
Okay.
the happy
Any more?
dance, moving your body, have
Yeah.
a happy dance and or music that
Music.
lifts you up. They're both
100%.
both beautiful.
It always does. Well, always works for me.
Yeah, yeah. And another tip I would give would be to notice what types of questions you're asking yourself. So are you asking yourself a question like, what is wrong with me? Or how
Mm.
could it be so stupid? Right?
Mm.
your brain's a computer. It's going to look for the answer.
Yeah.
So you want to ask higher quality questions than that, like what would be enjoyable for me right now. And
Sure.
actually, that's my free giveaway on my website
Okay.
is 10 powerful questions for jumpstarting joy, for rediscovering what brings you joy. So that's a freebie. It's a download. It's available on my website that
Okay.
can help point you with some questions that point you in the right direction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. I just put your
Yeah.
website up right now, joyfulbeing.com.
Mhm.
That's fantastic that you're offering that. Thank you very much. So those are awesome tips, and certainly they resonate with me, and I hope they resonate with our audience as well. Kim, thank you so much for being here today. Really appreciate all the information. Any parting words of wisdom? Anything you want to leave our audience with?
Yes, be proactive. So, you know, once a week or once a month, sit down and ask yourself, what would be enjoyable right now? What would recharge my batteries? Then put it on your calendar and make it happen because life is too short to keep postponing joy.
Fantastic. I love it. Thank you so much, Kim. It was a pleasure chatting today. Hopefully, we can do this again sometime. And have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too, Lambros.
Thank you. Bye bye. Bye, everybody.